Hey everybody, this is Captain Fool reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy. Alright everybody, for those of you that know the drill, I go over a bunch of comic books for the week that I chose to read. Now I didn't have time to read everything, so if I missed something you think I should have read, let me know in the comments below. Also, you may disagree with me on some of my choices. If that's the case, that's alright. Let me know below. Let's just try to keep it civil. My goal is to bring back the old schoolyard days, where we would be in discussing what hero could beat who or what comic book was good and not. And I come armed with my trusty notes, so you'll hear the paper rattle because I do it a little bit old school. I do my grading on a scale of 0 through 10, 7 being average as a 70%. So I'm using schoolyard grading. But that's not all. I also use the League of Comics Geeks to give you other people's views as well as a brief overview of the comic book as well. So let's jump right in. Alright, so let's dive right in. The first issue I want to talk about is Batman, issue 140. I've been very clear about my thoughts about the recent Batman issues and how I don't like the Zur direction, but we're still getting more of that. Well, anyway, Batman 140 says Batman versus Legion of himself. Yeah, a Legion of himself. Batman versus the Joker in their most brutal fight of all time. I wouldn't say that, but it's darn brutal. But wait, Batman is also battling a legion of himself? Yes, because of that whole Zur thing, and who will walk away as the story of the mind bomb continues, and the story might be bombing a little bit with some of the fans. Because 158 out of 172 liked with a 4 average rating, which shows this is actually on a bit of an upswing. And I gave it a 7.1. I didn't think it was anything spectacular, but I will say this, it's an improvement over what we've been getting. So writer Chip Zdarsky's writing this one with the artist George Jimenez. I thought, how do I put this? The art was okay. It's just not my favorite kind of style, but the issue was better than I expected. I think it had some nice little throwback lines to Batman from the movie of the 80s, the 60s series. And I think that's what a lot of people probably dug about it. I might have probably scored it a little low when I think about those little ad things and there's little deep cuts make me like it a bit more. So, my 7.1 would probably have to grow to maybe about a 7.3. But, what did you think? Was that enough to really add to it? This next issue, I'm not a big fan of the art style of this issue either, but I really like the cover for some reason. That's Birds of Prey issue number 4. Yeah, issue number 4. Looking at League of Comics Geeks, 143 out of 146 liked it with a 4.3 average rating, which is higher than I gave it because I gave it a 7 out of 10. The Birds versus the Amazon Warriors. Chaos Reigns is the first mission for the Birds of Prey has unsurprisingly gone sideways. Let's be honest, we all knew that was going to happen. It's a comic book. Even with the collective battle prowess of our hand-picked team, did Black Canary bring enough firepower to fight their way off the mascara? Well, I'm going to tell you what right now. We have writer Kelly Thompson, artist Leonardo Romero. Sorry. I like the cover. As I said, I thought the cover was good. It's a fun story, and the art was okay, though. But the kicker is, I wasn't a fan of the coloring of this. It seems more like a throwback, and I get that. But the coloring just, I don't know, I just didn't care for it much. And I think that's probably why I gave this book a 7 out of 10. This book, I noticed they backed off a little bit of the Harley Quinn carrying the book as well. It was nice seeing Big Barda fighting Wonder Woman, though, right? So yeah, not bad. So Birds of Prey, not so bad so far. Not the best book I've ever read, but not bad. Now, next one I want to jump into is a book I've been enjoying. Sort of a throwback in a way, a little bit of a different kind of feel to it. And that's Shazam, number 6. 85 out of 88 liked it with a 4.4 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. Yeah, that's an 8.8. I gave the book a 7.5. Not as high, but remember, 7 is average. So I'm saying this was an above average book. Yeah, I have to say, Mark Waid is doing a great job making me interested in the character and in the story, and the artist is Dan Mora. Anyway, we said Meet the Captain reaches its action-packed finale when Billy is forced to battle the very 6 gods who gave him his magical abilities. And it had a nice twist at issue 5 at the very end, but this one sort of brings it to what you would expect, which was nice. And when the dust settles, who will possess the power of Shazam? We'll read this issue and find out. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this. Decent art, fun story. And it's a decent ending to that story arc as well. And I'm going to say I think the next issue looks like it could be a lot of fun. This has been a fun series, and I think that's what we need. We need some stories that are just old school fun. And I think you get that with Mark Waid as long as he stays off his soapbox. If he gets into that, then he tanks everything because he's just a putz in that regard. Guy might be a jerk in real life and outside of the books, but sometimes you got to try to separate that as much as you can, but not all of us can do that, and that's okay. Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by My Wallet. Yeah, I'm not trying to push any kind of wallet or pimp any wallet out. What I mean is it's sponsored by my personal wallet and the cash that comes out of it to pay for these things. If you want to help with this, you can hit like, subscribe, that notification bell. Those are great ways to get started. But if you find yourself in a position where you can help the channel more, we have a Patreon and a subscribe star down below that you can click on those links. And for as little as $1 a month, you'll have special videos and things to just you, music that you can get. Or maybe if you wanted to, a one-time donation just to help out. We have a Streamlabs link down below. Or we also have, if you go to the Patreon shop, you could buy a song for like $3. I wish I could put them a little lower, but that's the minimum they allow for that. So there's lots of options. Sometimes you might even see an Amazon link. If you want to buy anything through Amazon, click on my link first, then go through there. That'll give me a couple pennies possibly that way too as well. So there's lots of ways you can help out the channel, because without you, it would not be possible. So thank you, everybody. And let's get back to the video. Now, this next book here surprised me a little bit. We're going to talk about The Amazing Spider-Man, number 39. Now, I know it has not been a good series for quite a while. I get it. But here, League of Comics Geeks, you ready? Found 60 out of 73 liked it. Now, that's a bad sign in one way. The good sign is the amount of people that liked it, because it had a 3.7 average rating from League of Comics Geeks. But the problem is it's falling below 100 people reviewing it. That's showing that the damage to the Spider-Man brand has been done. People have dropped reading this series. The sales probably are not there. Now, I'm speculating there, but let's be realistic here. I'm pretty good with that in my stats, and I've proven that over history, right? Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much. The writer is Zeb Wells. The penciler is John Romita Jr. And I will say this, I've not been the biggest John Romita Jr. fan over the last few years. His style, I think, has gotten more quick and less detailed, and that's probably because of pay and earning money. Well, anyway, gang war kicks off here. Super crime is running rampant, and Spider-Man can't solve just one problem at a time. So Spidey builds a team to take down all the super criminals of New York City in 48 hours. Yeah, good luck with that. So we're going to have none other than the female Daredevil, which was Elektra. We have Spider-Woman. We have She-Hulk, and we have Miles Morales. Yeah, I said Miles Morales, because Miles Morales is Miles Morales. Get over it. Well, anyway, this book has a lot of action. Decent art. Nothing great. It's a nice throwback, too, to some of the issues in the past. So they have some deep cuts in there, like with Robbie and the Pitchfork and Tombstone. If you don't know what I'm talking, that's some past stories where Robbie gave a good stabbing to Tombstone with the pitchfork. Great times those were, absolutely. I have to look back if I'm not mistaken. I'm just going by my memory. It might have been Ron Friend's art, maybe? I could be wrong there. Anyway, this issue's pretty good, and I think that's the key right here is we got off of the supernatural stuff. I think Spider-Man is best when he is staying street level. Yeah, he can fight people that are more powerful and tougher than him, but street level, I think, is where his stories really excel. What do you find are the best kind of stories for Spider-Man? Believe it or not, I gave this issue a 7.5. Yeah, a definite step up from some of the stuff we've been getting. Is it enough to keep people or bring people back? I don't know. I think there's a lot to prove here that has to be done to make people want to say, yeah, Spider-Man's worth coming back to and sticking with again. All right, going to one of my favorite teams that has not been performing the greatest lately, and that's Avengers number 8. 70 out of 75 liked it with a 3.8 average rating, which is higher than I gave it because I gave it a 7. I thought it was an average book. Trapped in a world they never made, the Avengers struggle to break free. while one of their number fights their own hopeless battle against Mirid. That can't got Meridian. I'm sorry, dude, I mispronounced that person's name. In the Twilight Court, Avengers never fight alone, and that's right. They joined together. 70 out of 75 liked it on League of Comics Geeks with a 3.8 average rating. As I said, a higher rating than I gave it. Jed McKay's writer. Arlos is Carlos Villa. I thought the art was okay at best. There's decent action in this issue as well. And the thing is, it's just there's nothing really special here. There's some alternate covers that are a little bit better than the standard cover for this issue as well. But I think this new foe that they have to fight is really nothing special. And a series can only really be as good as the villain props them up to be. And the villains just sort of whole hum here, the group of villains or whatever you want to say, just not enough to really gather my attention. But maybe it worked for you, and I hope it did. And then this next one, I enjoyed the cover. It made me want to read this book, and it's Daredevil #4, because anytime you have Daredevil fighting Bullseye, I am in. 65 out of 66 liked it with a 4.1 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, where I gave it a 7.4. Not quite as high as not as high as they did, but I still gave it a pretty darn good score. I think this book deserves a little bit of praise there. It's pretty cool. Not bad. Yeah. So good job, Zeladin Ahmad, which I butchered the writer's name there, and the artist Jermaine yeah, sorry, dude. Don't miss Bullseye. Bullseye makes his bloody entrance into Matt Murdock's new life. Yeah, and there's some blood in this issue. And Hell's Kitchen is caught in the crossfire as the bodies pile up, and they do. Daredevil is forced to make an impossible choice between stopping his deadliest enemy and saving the soul of his friend. I don't know. I think this is an interesting issue. This new spin on Daredevil not being a lawyer, I think is, in my opinion, working. It's nice seeing, in my opinion, Bullseye. I like Daredevil versus Bullseye. I like Daredevil fighting street level kind of characters like Spiderman, though Daredevil's had a good history with some, much more powerful and spiritual kind of enemies too. Good art, good pacing in this issue. I think so far this has been a good series, and if you haven't been checking it out, you probably should be at least giving it a try. What are your thoughts? I would like to know. Am I crazy here, or did you like it too? The next one I want to talk about is The Invincible Iron Man. The standard cover of this is pretty good, but there is some alternate covers that are pretty darn good as well. So definitely worth checking out here. League of Comics Geeks said 56 out of 57 liked it, which is sort of sad to me. It means not a lot of people are probably picking up this book, but they did give it a 4.3 average rating. I gave it a 7.5. Once again, they give it higher than me, but I tend to grade harder. So anything over 7 should be considered good in my part there. It takes a lot to get an 8 out of me, so I do grade pretty hard. I get that. The writer is Jerry Duggan, and the artist is Juan Ferreri. Sorry, I butchered your name. Iron Man and Emma Frost go intergalactic. Yes, intergalactic, planetary. Yeah, you get the hint there. Iron Man has become the X-Men's worst nightmare. Without a company, without his armor. How can Tony Stark make things right? The answers might just lie beyond Earth. Good art in this issue. We get some additional characters with Star Fox, which we don't see often. I like Emma and Tony working together. I didn't think I'd like it at first, but those two just seem to, how they mix, I'm enjoying that. I find this story to be pretty interesting as well. Really, the only negative I have on this is Riri. And she's not even that terrible in this book. So the only negative is Riri, because she's just sort of a lame character, in my opinion. She was created to... Well, let's be honest. He was created for diversity push, and that was it. But hopefully, maybe with some good writing, we can get some good stuff out of her. Right now, she's got the Mandarin rings, which is interesting, and we can tell that's leading up to something. Something's going to happen there, which I think is pretty cool. So good job. Let's utilize that character in a better way. Now, this next book, I don't know if I was really looking forward to it or not, because the last version of it really quite well sucked. And that was Thunderbolts #1. Yes, Thunderbolts #1 is a completely different direction than having Mayor Luke Cage create a team of Thunderbolts. So it's sort of interesting. Is that team still running around, or are they disbanded? I don't know exactly there, but this time we have a new group. And League of Comics Geeks had 32 out of 36 liking it with a 3.9 average rating, which is sort of sad. 3.9 is a very good score, because I gave it a 7.4. So not quite as high as they did, but I still gave it a pretty well good score there, but only Think about it, of only 36. It means this book probably didn't sell a lot, but that last version of Thunderbolts probably didn't help it out very much. It just wasn't that good. And we have Jackson Lansing as the writer, and as well as Colin Kelly, and the artist is Geraldo Borges. Sorry. Revelation's coming. Bucky Barnes, the Revolution, just inherited a mountain of covert intel, and he has one objective: justice. Like lightning. Yeah, we got that old tagline, justice like lightning. He's going after the establishment, the people no one else is willing or able to take down. And he'll do whatever it takes to win, teaming with the mysterious Contessa Valentino de Allegra de Fontaine. Woohoo, got that one out. Wow, amazing. Bucky assembles a team of Black Ops heavy hitters to pursue high-profile targets like none other than the Red Skull, Kingpin, and Doctor Doom himself. No one is safe from the Thunderbolts. I think it's interesting having Bucky leading a team. We got an interesting cast here. I think this is an interesting cast, something fresh. So that's nice there in that regard. I like that. Decent art. I think this is a fun concept. It's an interesting story. As I said, much better than the previous Thunderbolt story. And I will definitely be getting issue number 2. I like that they think they took out the Red Skull, even though they know he has a history of coming back. But read the last page. Then we get a little bit of fun. So once again, Thunderbolts number 1. If you haven't been checking it out, number 1 was off to a pretty good start. We got Sharon Carter. Come on now. I like to get some more of her in some books. She deserves it. Good character. And another one I'm not going to give away because it would sort of give away some of the story. And I don't want to do that. Next one I want to talk about is Venom number 28. Matter of fact, this is the last one for the week. Venom number 28. 30 out of 43 liked it with a 3.4 average rating, meaning the sales probably aren't really strong for this book. I gave it a 7 out of 10, so not quite, once again, as high. It seems like I just grade harder than them. That's just all it is. Writer is Torin Grobeck, artist Julius Ota. Once again, and there's another artist, Raphael T. Pimentel. I never butcher these names out of any disrespect. Please don't ever think of it that way. I just have a really hard time pronouncing some of these names. It's just a thing I have. A symbiotic free-for-all, freshly united and teamed up, Venom and Toxin fight like hell to save one of the Marvel Universe's greatest heroes from the darkness within her, unleashed by an all-new, all-horrifying symbiote. Remember how Venom used to eat brains, but then got over that? Yeah, and tried to become a hero? Well, this symbiote doesn't shake that kind of nature. Really? That lead-in doesn't really tell anything that really matches the story, in my opinion. I thought it was a pretty cool cover, though. I do like seeing Black Widow in the symbiote. I don't think I want to see her in it all the time, but it is a cool thing temporarily. Decent art. It's an okay story, but the thing is here is I think it lacks anything to make you care about these characters. This story is what's so off the rails for so many issues. Do we have any connection to many of these characters? Are any of these characters at all? I don't think we do, and that's part of the problem. They need a sort of a stable cast and some development to make us care about these characters. It just doesn't do it for me. So I only could give it a 7 out of 10. It wasn't bad. It just didn't quite do enough to make me go, man, this is a book I need to be getting. It does have some pretty cool alternate covers as well, I might add. Well, there you have it. Those are my views. What are your views this week? What did you read that I didn't? And by the way, make sure you take a moment. I want you to read these people here. Without these people, this channel wouldn't be possible. These people have been supporting the channel for a long time, and I greatly appreciate every one of them. If you want to help out this channel, as I mentioned earlier, I gave you ways to do it. Just check out the info bar down below. We'd greatly appreciate it. It helps us to be able to continue doing these videos. Thank you, everybody, for your time. You have been nothing but amazing. And until next time, keep it frugal.